Debunking COVID-19 myths. Myth 1.
Gis nga yow yaa ngi reesa booba max bi ak tàngoor bi nii man gis nga man ragaluma COVID-19 coronavirus mënul da téye nit ku ñuul.
déedéet boy coronavirus dina jàpp bépp xeet dina jàpp bépp der dina jàpp bépp réew te gis nañ lum fi def te Afrika ak lu ko wóor te Gambia si la bokk COVID-19 lu am la yaa boo nga xam loolu la.
Myth 2.
Suma caami. ndax lekk laaj mën na laa aar si feebari coronavirus bi.
déedéet laaj dara firndelut ko continuer ci sa raxasam loxo mi te nga joxe digganteeg seen nit yooyu jokkalanteel te nga toppa sarta yi nag yuñ ñu tegtal pour nga mun cee muccaaleel si sa njaboot yeeg sa dëkkandoor yeeg ak àdduna si yëpp.
Myth 3.
suma caami mbaa xam nga ne feebari coronavirus bi Gambia bokku parce que feebar bi mënut a dunda si réew yu tàngay.
déet soxna coronavirus daal mën naa dundee fu ne waate mu tànga wara mu seega xoolal si suñu réew mi dëkkandoo li ñuy def daal saa su ne neen raxas suñuy loxo mun a génne jàngoro bu nekk suñuy loxo te ñuy moytu laal suñuy bët ak suñuy loxo wara bakket wara gémmiñ.
Myth 4.
waaw nijaay.
waaw.
feebari coronavirus bi maa dégg rek. feebari réewum
ku la wax
tàngal.
loolu
ñun waa def ji bokkul foofu dara loolu feebari réewum tàngal.
déedéet yaa ngi nax sa bopp.
nijaay.
gis nga feebar bii dina jàpp ku nekk am na ñun jàpp si yeneenu tund fii ci dëkk bi feebar bi lu xam la de te ñëpp lay jàpp nag wasalaam.
Supersonic's money transfer is giving you an unbeatable offer this Tobaski. Your family and friends can now send you monies from the whole of Europe, US, Canada, and Switzerland for absolutely free. Yes! This Tobaski, enjoy our safe, fast, reliable, and convenient money transfer service with the largest payout network in the Gambia at zero transfer charges. So your family and friends wouldn't have to worry about transfer charges when sending you monies from Europe, USA, Canada, and Switzerland this Tobaski. Visit the Google Play Store or the Apple Store today to download the Supersonics Money Transfer app and enjoy excellent money transfer services only with Supersonics. Support your own. Tobaski just got better with Super.
First of all, I would like to thank you all.
Yes, go ahead. We are live. Okay.
Debunking COVID-19 myths. Myth 1.
gis nga yow yaa ngi reesa booba max bi ak tàngoor bi nii man gis nga man ragaluma COVID-19 coronavirus mënul da téye nit ku ñuul.
déedéet boy coronavirus dina jàpp bépp xeet dina jàpp bépp der dina jàpp bépp réew te gis nañ lum fi def ci réew yu nekk Afrika ak lu ko wóor te Gambia si la bokk COVID-19 lu am la yaa boo nga xam loolu la.
Myth 2.
suma caami. ndax lekk laaj mën na laa aar si feebari coronavirus bi.
déedéet laaj dara firndelut ko continuer ci sa raxasam loxo mi te nga joxe digganteeg seen nit yooyu jokkalanteel te nga toppa sarta yi nag yuñ ñu tegtal pour nga mun cee muccaaleel si sa njaboot yeeg sa dëkkandoor yeeg ak àdduna si yëpp.
Myth 3.
suma caami mbaa xam nga ne feebari coronavirus bi Gambia bokku parce que feebar bi mënut a dunda si réew yu tàngay.
déet soxna coronavirus daal mën naa dundee fu ne waate mu tànga wara mu seega xoolal si suñu réew mi dëkkandoo li ñuy def daal saa su ne neen raxas suñuy loxo mun a génne jàngoro bu nekk suñuy loxo te ñuy moytu laal suñuy bët ak suñuy loxo wara bakket wara gémmiñ.
Myth 4.
waaw nijaay.
waaw.
feebari coronavirus bi maa.
ku la wax
ñun
loolu.
waa def ji bokkul foofu dara loolu feebaram réew mi taw
déedéet yaa ngi nax sa bopp
nijaay
gis nga feebar bii dina jàpp ku nekk am na ñun jàpp si yeneenu tund fii ci dëkk bi feebar bi lu xam la de te ñëpp lay jàpp nag wasalaam
Supersonic's money transfer is giving you an unbeatable offer this Tobaski. Your family and friends can now send you monies from the whole of Europe, US, Canada, and Switzerland for absolutely free. Yes! This Tobaski, enjoy our safe, fast, reliable, and convenient money transfer service with the largest payout network in the Gambia at zero transfer charges. So your family and friends wouldn't have to worry about transfer charges when sending you monies from Europe, USA, Canada, and Switzerland this Tobaski. Visit the Google Play Store or the Apple Store today to download the Supersonics Money Transfer app and enjoy excellent money transfer services only with Supersonics. Support your own. Tobaski just got better with Supersonics Money Transfer.
We are worried that power is not very steady.
Supersonics Money Transfer ñoo leen indil xéewal bu rëy a rëy jëmale ko ci tabaski bi ñooy digmal léegi say mbokk ak sa ay am di jàmm mën nañ la yónnee xaalis bàyyee ko foofu ca Europe, US, Canada wala Switzerland te duñ ci fay dara waaw li ko waral mooy mbootaay yónneekaay xaalis bi gën a màgga ci Gambia ñoo leen ko indil gaaw na wóor na noppale na te amul benn jafe-jafe bi ci nekk kon nag yéen mbokk yi ak am di jàmm yi jaratut ngeen di xalaat ci boo leen di yónnee xaalis fii ci biir réewi Gambia bàyyeekoo foofu ca Europe, US, Canada wala Switzerland ci tabaski bi ñuy digmal saytu leen ñu ci Google Play Store wala Apple Store ngeen mën a am suñ app bi di Supersonics Money Transfer app ndax ngeen mën a xéewalu ci xéewal bi ñu leen indil doolalal li nga moom Supersonics suma tabaski ren neex na
They are not done yet, but I think we can start.
Ɗum kontirteɗa ko ɗum ɗo wawata wallude laamu America ngon andata ko honto e toon ɓuuri mapporde jawle e ko honno ɓe sendirta jawle maɓɓe ɗen ko yaari wa darnugol lekkolji labtanji fire service ɗate e ko wayi noon fop mi kontama ete onon e ɓe nguureji mon fop
We welcome you all to the GMC press conference here today. It is indeed an honor to have the media. So without wasting much time, I will just allow the party leader to come in and deliver his speech. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It is necessary that we have face masks on, but it's muffling my speech, so I will, since I'm reasonably good distance away from everyone, in the interest of being properly heard, I'm going to remove it and do that. First, I want to welcome all of you to the GMC National Secretariat here on Kairaba Avenue along Pipeline Road. Once again, I am very delighted to welcome you. The purpose of today is essentially to deliver a press briefing. In other words, to make a statement and allow you to make sense out of it. However, we have decided to change the format. I will issue a preliminary statement and subsequently we will allow you to ask some questions and we will end up right there. It is not a full-scale question and answer session. There are specific concerns. The nation is extremely concerned. We are in a very volatile situation. It is absolutely necessary that the people of this country are able to hear from their leaders in order to provide a strategic direction as to where we should be leading to in this state of apparent uncertainty. Now, fellow Gambians, our nation is at a crossroad. Over the past 3 years and some months, I have addressed you on a number of key concerns impacting governance, the economy, and our society. Today we shall focus exclusively on national security and law and order. When I joined the coalition cabinet on the 1st February 2017, the most critical issue facing the country was security. How do we establish the authority of the new government, pacify areas of the country that sought to threaten national security, destabilize peace, and take the law into their own hands, against the need to protect human dignity and fundamental rights? Communities that exhibited the greatest resistance to the new order experienced concentrated presence of law enforcement assets with a view to imposing the legitimate authority of the new administration consistent with the electoral dictates of the Gambian voters. It was not an easy task, as some communities felt unfairly targeted for political reasons, wrongly. Our duty was to ensure that every inch of Gambian soil was subject to Gambian law. And no part of the country, in every community, would be permitted to be an outlaw. I directed all necessary measures to be implemented, ensuring that citizens obey the law at all costs, and that lawbreakers were to be subjected to the full force of the law. We empowered internal security apparatus, such as the Gambia Police Force, the Gambia Immigration Department, the Department of the Drug Law Enforcement Agency of the Gambia, to exercise their mandate, and putting the Gambia Police Force as the lead institution among all law enforcement agencies in the protection of public security. Working with the President's Office and Cabinet, we restored the statutory authority of the Gambia Police Force, withdrew the armed forces from all civilian areas, and returned them back to the barracks where they belong. We sought to reorganize the NIA and confine its role to its true mandate as an intelligence institution and not an instrument of brutality. We began the process of reforming internal security institutions, starting with security sector reform. During my tenure, we launched this process with the appointment of the National Security Advisor for the first time in the history of the Gambia, tasked with the coordination of the reform agenda. A multidisciplinary task force was established to work on the first National Security Assessment Report, and I made sure as Minister that the task force was housed under my office at the Ministry of Interior for closer supervision and coordination. Supported by the United Nations and the European Union, the first National Security Assessment Report was produced, validated, and served as the foundation document for the National Security Policy and National Security Strategy document. I worked with my senior management team to create the Ministry of Interior Strategy Plan 2017-2020, which addressed the threats and potential threats facing the country. The strategy focused on 5 goals, and it was a culmination of the collective wisdom of the ministry and its stakeholders. Since I left the ministry on the 10th November, the strategy plan 2017-2020 of the Ministry of Interior designed to create a new proactive internal security infrastructure was abandoned capacity and resource constraints, etc., among others. Today, that leaders or people who project themselves as leaders must come forward in order to assure a jittery nation. Today, we must understand that we cannot use one yardstick against everybody. I am not here as a spokesperson. People who have difficulties working under extreme circumstances. And I'm going to give you typical examples, some of the issues that the Gambia police force and other law enforcement confront. So the failure of the security system is an indictment on the general capacity of the Gambia to provide what is necessary. And in terms of tools, what do we expect these hundreds and thousands of young people who graduate every year from school? And there is not. They must be left above the cuff. And that is why the Minister of Interior, together with other institutions dealing with security, must be able to emerge with strategies in order to confront these new security threats that our country faces. But how can we do this? Development is impossible if we don't have security. Development is impossible if there is no stability. Development is impossible if we do not have peace. But we rely on institutions to provide this for us, notably the Minister of Interior, including other sister organizations, so that we can have a nurturing environment that will get this country on a path of sustainable growth, wealth creation, and of course, all of the other indices that the government was working on, and all of us must be concerned about. But the police force, which during my time, we did so much to bring at the fore of internal security, of domestic security, so that they will become the vanguard in ensuring public security and public safety. And we put the army backwards. But correspondingly, this nation has not risen in order to be fair to its law enforcement institutions. Only that most police in this country have more than one boots. Most have more than one uniform. For years, they deal with only one, particularly those in traffic. You pass them, the sun is so hot, even their collars get turned, and they are sweating because of sweat, and they smell because of the sweat. Done. The police cannot communicate. How do we combat crime when it is impossible for the police to communicate among themselves? When they lack communication gadgets. When crime is committed in Banjul and the criminal escaped the police and is on the way to Serekunda or Bakau or the Combos, this criminal will evade Denton Bridge because the police have very limited means of communicating to their officers on Denton Bridge. We do not have what is conventionally called a walkie-talkie communication system. We've seen it in other countries. Is this country serious about fighting crime? You go to police stations, there are no computers. There are only files, paper files. How many police are connected to the internet? Police stations are connected to the internet. How many police stations are real police stations in this country? Now, if you go around the country, how many police stations are actually owned by the Gambia government? 90% of them are rented in buildings and properties that are very unsafe themselves. How many police vehicles do we have in this country? When you report a crime to the police force, they are not able to respond because they don't have the mobility, they don't have the logistics, they don't have the ability to respond to community requests because the police are underfunded. There are no vehicles. They are not able to patrol because they do not have vehicles. And the amount of money that is allocated to police stations that have vehicles is only 2.5 liters a day. What can 2.5 liters do for a police vehicle that should patrol a community? 2.5 liters a day for a police vehicle to police a community. This is the amount of money that is budgeted for them. How do we expect empowerment? How can we save our communities? When the government places deprioritization, when the government places low premium and low value on public security. Reorientation, the training of the government force. You talk about protecting our borders. Our borders are porous. Criminals are coming in. We know that armed robbery along Gambia's frontiers, both south and north, are rife. People are killed. People experience grievous body harm. Properties are carted away into our neighboring countries. The police are not able to respond adequately to protect. The immigration department is not able to provide supplementary service to the police force because the logistics is not there. The training is not there. The capacity is not there. The motivation is not there. And we talk about the inability of the police to protect our people. We are not giving them the resources. Let us be fair to our country. If the country does not give the resources to the police to protect our societies, where are they going to get it from? From the sky? From the air? It is the country that must give them the resources, the budget that they need. We must de-emphasize political programs and invest in areas that will save this country. We must invest in productive sectors, but we must also value sectors that are necessary for the survival and viability of the Gambia. And the security sector is number one. And that is why when I was appointed minister, my first priority was necessary for the survival and viability of the Gambia. And the security sector is number one. And that is why when I was appointed minister, my first priority is wrong, is improper, and the foundation is also unjustifiable. What we need to do is to streamline its functions and make sure it is people by persons of integrity who will respect the law and also strike a balance between protection of the public and the protection of fundamental liberties of the public. It is this delicate balance that we must seek. What we must not say because the crimes of one individual or a few individuals against the public is a justification for closing down a vital department that is keeping in the main public safety and public security would be a wrong choice. So today, against advice, I stand very firmly in support of maintaining the anti-crime department. I stand very firmly in supporting the mandate of the anti-crime department. I stand very firmly in supporting additional funding and capacity training for anti-crime department. For if I had remained Minister of Interior, it was going to be my greatest weapon of crime reduction and ensuring that violent criminals to jail are locked up for good and our streets are safe, our homes are safe, and properties are safe. So the anti-crime is a great vision and it is a great instrument in the hands of any democratic government, particularly a police force that is necessary for a democratic dispensation. Of course, like all institutions, they have their deficiencies. And I stand here to condemn all the violations of the law and all the repressive tendencies that were exhibited by people who work under the anti-crime department. I am not going to be here to justify those actions. I think it is reprehensible, it is condemnable that the people who are employed by this country to protect the public ended up becoming the abusers of the public, the oppressors of the public. It is not acceptable. But yet, we must not brush everybody with the same paint. We have an investigation into the issue of Ibrahim Sane. An independent investigation is going to be ascertained. The National Human Rights Commission has taken upon itself the duty to look at the facts and come out with the facts. The officer concerned has been put on administrative leave. The victim is going through medical treatment. As a democratic society, can we allow due process to take its place? Can we all wait now for the conclusion of the investigation, particularly the independent investigation that is going on by the National Human Rights Commission? But meanwhile, it will be wrong and improper to jump to conclusions and determine that the entire police force is the enemy of the public. We must be grateful to the thousands of men and women who are in the police force every day, who are doing their best. We have all witnessed a young woman, Khadijaju, who was standing in the rain without proper shoes in the middle of a flood directing traffic. And I can assure you there are many hundreds of Khadijajus in the Gambia police force. Many of them in the Gambia prison service. Many of them in the immigration department. Many of them in the drug law enforcement agencies who are patrolling our fighting against powerful crime syndicates at the risk of their life with less pay. So today I come out for the nation to express its appreciation to those who are serving us. We must understand that law enforcement are not our enemies. But where there are shortcomings, we must come out plainly and condemn those shortcomings. We must not allow, again, in the history of this country, operation by law enforcement against ordinary citizens. Violations of the law, particularly fundamental rights of the people, must be challenged at every angle and must